taken. And today guys were locked in right from the beginning. They knew what was at stake and controlled the game from the opening tap. Hopefully that carries over to next week. But most importantly, after a really long and in many ways tumultuous season, we got where we needed to get, and that's into the playoffs, and we've got a chance, and that's all we were hoping for.
This is Steve Kerr, and you're listening to the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.
Everybody's getting everybody.
That's a dope beat.
This is such a
Get
classic.
you ready for the playoffs. Get you ready. I hate that we have to wait until Saturday. We got a long ramp up. I may take a couple of days off this week. I'm not going to lie to you. I need the playoffs, man. I'm not ready to talk about anything else. Yeah, the Giants lost 2 or 3 to the Royals. Good for them, salvaging one yesterday. Michael Conforto, great home run late in the game. DeSclafani looking really good. Masters, didn't watch much of it. Once Tiger went down and withdrew, I was out of it.
Well, you're tripping.
I'm not.
It was a beautiful day.
Well, it looked beautiful. I saw glimpses of it. Koepka choked. Okay, great.
I wouldn't say cheat. Just
But I
didn't
think
play well.
the biggest story to me, I know John Rahm won, but the biggest story is Tiger Woods can't finish a tournament.
Viewership's up, and he didn't even, compete. But I hear you.
Cool.
I understand that.
That's cool. I mean, I'm locked in on
I actually think the game is the golf game is, because it's a niche sport. It's in a really healthy spot right now.
No, Damien Barling is going to join us. I think we have him on the line. I should have had him do the Zoom. Should have had him log in on Zoom. We'll always do the StreamYard with him up there at ESPN 1320. And D-Lo, this guy, get to know him. Damien Barling, one half of D-Lo and KC up there at ESPN 1320. And I love D-Lo and KC. Love their show. But D-Lo, man, you guys get on me about the Gucci shoes and the light blue suit. Have you seen D-Lo's drip, Shasky?
Yeah, I'm well aware because it's all over the timeline as people are commenting on it 24/7.
The Louis Vuitton shoes that I saw Chet Holmgren wearing. Chet Holmgren was wearing these Louis V's, and D-Lo's just rocking them on a random Wednesday. A random Wednesday, he's got Louis V's on. I saw him at Golden One Center wave to the crowd like he was Vivek Ranadive. And they were like, D-Lo, D-Lo. He had like this alligator skin leather jacket.
Well,
I mean,
he wasn't even wearing joggers. It looked like capris. I don't know what the hell he was wearing, but I know I can't pull it off.
Hey, I can't pull it off either, but I love me some D-Lo, man. D-Lo, how you doing this morning, man?
It's all about confidence, baby. You can wear anything that you're confident in. If you feel like you look good in it, you absolutely look good in it.
There it is. And the Kings have been looking good all season long, no matter what jersey they're wearing. Now that the dust is settled, and we have Kings and Warriors, it actually has happened. We talked about it. We didn't know if it was going to happen, especially with the way the Clippers were playing yesterday. They could have lost, and the Warriors would have moved up to 5, and then it would have been Kings-Clippers, and we wouldn't have had this conversation. Now that the dust is settled, Kings-Warriors. What's your initial reaction, D-Lo?
I mean, the initial reaction regarding just the series, just on the surface, is it's pretty dope. Like, the two teams have never made the playoffs at the same time before. Obviously, the Kings have struggled to make the playoffs, period. And the fact that, their first appearance in 16 years is against the Golden State Warriors, who is, the modern-day dynasty here. That's pretty awesome. Now, taking a step further back and looking at, okay, we're getting past the excitement of the playoffs. We're getting past the excitement of this Northern California matchup. There's some things about it I really don't like for Sacramento. And I promise I understand the context and all of it. I just really don't like the way that Sacramento has played lately. And that's something that was sitting in my head as I was watching the Golden State Warriors score 55 first quarter points yesterday, as I was watching them put up 150 something, because that's what's been synonymous with Sacramento all year long. So the fact that I look back and go back to the game that the Kings lost on a Sunday to the Spurs, and it's like, yeah, that's a bad loss. You don't want to have those types of losses to 19 win teams, 20 win teams, but then they come back and then they have the big win against the Pelicans, kind of solidifies everything. We know how hard the Pelicans were fighting for that game. And then, at the time, fighting for their season. And then, even with complete context, it's kind of the thing I was worried about Mike not playing guys on Friday against the Warriors was, I feel like this team is really based on momentum, really based on flow, and that game had no flow to it. And then you have the first half of this game against Denver yesterday where everything looked solid, and then you scored 28 second half points. Like, that's terrible. I watched the second unit of the Golden State Warriors just pick up where the starters left off. And I look at these guys who could potentially be earning playoff minutes coming up in this series where you're going to have to score points against the Golden State Warriors, come up short. So I was a little frustrated in that regard. Overall, it's obviously an exciting series. I'm excited so many people, from the Bay Area will get to be down here and we'll kind of get to do this thing together. I understand it's old hat for you guys, but it's new for us, and it's exciting. But in a wider lens view, I'm really uneasy about the way Sacramento was playing, and even more uneasy about the way the Golden State Warriors are playing right now.
Yeah, I feel like we have all week to break down, personnel, matchups, lineups, etc. I want to get into the psyche of a Kings fan right now, or I guess a Sacramento native, because there's this like big brother, little brother thing with LA and SF, and we kind of explored it a little bit with KC last week. And there's obviously some sort of territorial bragging rights and a little brother, big brother thing regarding Sacramento and the Bay Area. And so many people, like my sister, have moved from the Bay Area up to Sacramento. So do Kings fans, those that are native to the area, are they kind of like, oh, God, we're so happy to be here and we want to play whoever, but why the Warriors? Why this team? Because they're so, their fan base is so big. Like, could it have been any other opponent? Are there any people feeling that way?
Sure. Like, I think there's a wide variety of emotions going on with this. Like, I think with the Warriors, there was that, oh, God, like, how many Warriors fans are going to be at the Golden One Center?
Exactly.
It's going to be our first playoff game in 16 years, and there's going to be Warriors fans everywhere. I think that is sitting in people's head a little bit, but it would have been the same, deal if it was the Lakers. Like, I don't know that there's a big brother, little brother thing with the Bay Area, because I feel like so much of it at this point is intertwined. Like, so many Bay Area people live here. Like Joe just said, your sister moved from the Bay Area to Sacramento. My sister moved from Sacramento to the Bay Area. Like, my mom lives in the Bay Area. Like, this is it just everything is so like mixed together, and we can talk about housing and housing prices and where all of the investors in Sacramento just happen to be from Silicon Valley. Like, we could do all of that like all day. I think the bigger thing is the fan base. And because the Kings have been so bad so long, a lot of Kings fans, understandably so, went to the new hotness that started to emerge in the NBA in 2013, 2014. You had this baby-faced assassin who turned out to be the greatest shooter of all time, one of the most exciting players we've ever seen. Like, of course, like, I don't blame any Kings fan who gravitated to supporting the Golden State Warriors. And I think for those that rode it out, for those that dealt with the 12, 13 head coaches, the multiple general managers, the multiple relocation sagas, the guy puking at half court, like, for those that dealt with all of that, they're the ones who look at it like, we're going to have to deal with all these bandwagon clowns coming in here to our arena, probably driving up the ticket prices and making for a obnoxious Saturday night on primetime television.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Game 1, 5:30 p.m. Saturday at the Golden One Center between the Kings and Warriors, a 3-6 matchup in the Western Conference. Damien Barling here on the Morning Roast, co-host of D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320. You do a terrific job up there from 12 to 4. What a good listen, man. It's a really good show with D-Lo and KC. D-Lo, Vivek Ranadive, let's go there for a second. How are Kings fans feeling about him? Because you mentioned all the stuff that's happened, the firing of coaches, all the different coaches, you name them, Luke Walton, Dave Yeager, the list goes on and on and on, Mike Malone. How are Kings fans feeling Vivek Ranadive today as the Kings clinch their first playoff berth in 17 years?
It's really funny, man. They're almost not acknowledging him. Like, we brought it up out the gate, like when the Kings clinched and it was official and it's like, this team's going to the playoffs. We brought up Vivek that first day, and I'm not sure that he's been mentioned since. And I felt like he was, like, Kenny and I are really just kind of alone on this island where we feel like he's been unfairly criticized over the last handful of years. About, like, because there's nothing more than rumors about him meddling in team business. Like, every time something went wrong, they blamed it on Vivek Ranadive. And I can give you a couple of great examples. Like if there was a popular consensus in the fan base, right, Vivek was always on the other side. Like every time, 10 times out of 10. I went on the radio when we got down to there was an initial list of coaching hires, and obviously Mike was a part of it. Mark Jackson was a part of it. I think Steve Clifford was the other veteran coach, and then there were the young guys like Darvin Ham, Will Hardy. All of the young guys were eliminated like right out the gate, and it became the 3 veteran coaches, and Clifford, Mark Jackson, and Mike Brown. Once it was established, okay, those are going to be the 3 coaches, I was adamant, Mike Brown is the guy. It's not Steve Clifford, with all due respect to him. Right. He is not the type of coach that this team needs. Mike Brown is that guy. This is the opportunity I think Mike has been waiting for. This is the opportunity that the Kings have been waiting for. This is perfect. Well, lo and behold, as that narrative starts to pick up, and it's like, Mike Brown is the guy, Mike Brown is the guy, all of a sudden, who was the most controversial figure of those 3? It's your boy Mark Jackson. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what the rumor was? Vivek Ranadive wants Mark Jackson. Now let's fast forward to the draft. The Kings personnel, they're really big on Jaden Ivey. They're really big on Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey's the guy. He's going to be the one. Unless, I don't know, man, that Vivek Ranadive, he's really into Keegan Murray. He's trying to push Keegan Murray into the front office. He's trying to push Keegan Murray as the guy. Now, when Keegan was drafted and he turned out to be the player that he is, and nobody said anything about that. That rumor has never been brought up again. Never again mentioned was there a rumor out there that Keegan was Vivek's guy and the front office wanted Jaden Ivey. So to me, none of this stuff adds up. Everybody has an agenda, and I think there were some there were just some insecure individuals who had very minimal roles in the ownership group, and they have media personnel that they like to talk to, and their favorite pastime is bashing Vivek Ranadive. Vivek very, very rarely speaks publicly. He very, very rarely speaks in front of the camera, and I think it's absurd for so many to think they know what he's thinking. And I think he's been unfairly criticized. I think I think he was once labeled the worst owner in sports, or maybe close to it. Maybe it was the worst owner in the NBA, and that's ridiculous. Because when you look around at what's going on with some of these other organizations, like you can talk about Sacramento, and you can talk about how things miss. I've had interactions with the guy, and I find him to be very personable, very easy to talk to. But you look at Mark Cuban. You're in a city, you're in a market like Dallas, Texas, and you can't get free agents to sign there. You can't get anything to work within your organization. You can't get anything to click. But you got that one title to bail you out. You look at some of the ugliness that has surrounded that Dallas Mavericks organization, and you're going to tell me that Vivek is the worst owner in basketball just because he might have been bad. He might have trusted the wrong people. He might have hired the wrong people. He might have been too quick to do a few things. Like to a long-winded way of answering your question, no one is talking about Vivek Ranadive, and that's probably a bit unfair right now because there is nothing more than he wanted. There's nothing more than what he wanted than to win. That's all he wanted to do was win, and he's finally gotten this team to a point where not only are they a playoff team, but I think with the right moves this offseason, they could be a very good team moving forward as well.
You know, it's funny how Sacramento has operated in their existence. It feels like some of their best moves have, yes, developing and drafting De'Aaron Fox was incredible, but like you trade for Mitch Richmond, you trade for Chris Webber, you trade for Sabonis. How big of a trade was the Sabonis trade, and what was the trickle-down effect?
It was massive. It was absolutely massive, and I can point to the trickle-down effect for you, Butch. Go to the first game he played. I believe we had a back-to-back against Minnesota, and it was the second night of a back-to-back. The Kings had lost the first one. The season was already kind of done. Everybody kind of already knew that, but it was Domantas Sabonis, I think, had been in town for a couple of hours, but he was cleared to play. Like they did all of the post-trade stuff, and he got out there. The Kings won that night, and there's a moment I think every Kings fan will remember where the game ends and De'Aaron, he just hugs Domas. And there was a moment, like we call it the hug herd around the world. You could see like De'Aaron wrapping his arms around him like, oh my God, I'm playing with a real NBA player right now. And it was jarring in Bonte, but you guys know, like, we watched the league, like we're aware of what goes on in Indiana. Or, you know, I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan, so I saw Domas in Oklahoma City and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not realize how good he was. He is so good. He has changed he is the reason the trajectory of this team has changed. He is the hub. He is the centerpiece. The fact that he's played, he played, virtually 3/4 of the season or whatever it was with with like a broken hand and just kind of or thumb and had that thing taped up for the whole season. Like he makes everyone better. When you look at the Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray stat of 200 plus threes, and you see that Jordan Poole and Steph are in that company, and you see Anthony Simons and Dame Lillard. Those are the only other two sets of teammates in that company. And then you realize Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, those are scoring options 3 and 4 in Sacramento. That's a credit to Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, but specifically Domantas Sabonis and what they've been able to do this year.
And you made another underrated trade was the Huerter trade coming from Atlanta. I don't get why the Hawks did that. That's a sneaky deal. We said that right away, Butch. Like, man, I think Red Velvet could do something up in Sacramento as a 2-guard, and he's had an excellent season. Last but not least, D-Lo, and we appreciate the time. You're on fire right now. I know you're getting ready for your show, but the Beam. You guys have become the darlings of the NBA. Everybody, Worldwide Rob, the NBA Nation has taken this, and I know we made fun of you guys Friday night, lighting the beam up, and I know you didn't like that.
We heard you. We heard you. I ain't say something. We heard you.
But the beam has become one of the great gimmicks. I don't even want to call it a gimmick, but like you had the rally monkey with the Angels, the Giants fans can't stand hearing that. The beam, when it first happened, what was your thoughts, and did you believe that it was going to take off like this?
Well, so I remember opening night against Portland. My girl Kendra, who is just an incredible person who heads up the DEI department with Sacramento. I'm really close with her. She was telling me before the game, she was like, yeah, if we win, we're going to light this purple beam into the sky. And I remember looking at her like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, yeah. Every time we win, we're going to light a purple beam in the sky. And I'm just like, all right, okay, whatever you say. I couldn't fathom, they're shooting lasers into the sky? Like, are they even allowed to do that? What does this look like? Well, the Kings lost that game against Portland. If you remember, the Kings lost their first 4 games of the season.
That's right.
So by the third, I forgot about the beam. I just forgot about the purple thing they were going to shoot into the sky. And then they get their first win and it appears and it's like, oh, okay, like there's a beam in the sky. So the reason it worked is because the Kings won.
Right.
That's why it worked. Like, if the Kings were winning at a clip that they were winning at last year, no one would care about the beam. But the fact that they lost their first 4, then they started winning. They lost that game against the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco on November 7th.
The 2-minute report, I know, did not look good for the Golden State Warriors because you guys got jobbed on a couple calls there late in the game. But continue, D-Lo.
It didn't, but there's another observation I picked up about that game. We're going to talk about it later, by the way, with Bonte on D-Lo and KC. But after that game, the Kings won the next 7. And in the middle of that was the Brooklyn Nets game on national television where they just destroyed Brooklyn. That's what set the beam to the next level. That was the moment where everything changed. That winning streak, because the beam was getting lit every other day. That's when it started to become a thing. That's when the songs started to be written about it. That's when the Light the Beam chant started. And it's a great gimmick. It's literally when you walk outside in Doco in the evening after the Kings win, it is just jubilation. It is just so much excitement. But it worked because they were winning at the clip that they did, and that 7-game win streak is really what set everything off.
Man. And now you guys got a rap song, and you're hosting the playoff series for the first time in years, in 17 years, taking on the Golden State Warriors. 5:30 p.m. Saturday night. Golden One Center is going to be electric. D-Lo, can't wait to talk to you later. Good stuff here on the roast, man. You're on fire right now.
I appreciate you, Butch. We're going to get you later this week, and I'm going to tell you in front of everybody right now, we want you both on Friday. Clear 20 minutes, clear 30 minutes, do whatever you got to do. Bonte today, Butch will get you scheduled this week, but we want you both on the show on Friday. And next time, I heard you, send the Zoom link, and I'll jump in there with you.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I will not be as friendly as you were today. I'm coming for all of it.
I'd imagine as we get closer and closer to Saturday, these cute little, Bonte's my guy, Butch is my guy, Goo, that's my guy. By Friday? Oh no! By Friday, it's gang warfare.
Oh boy, I already told Mo yesterday when she was doing King's pregame, hosting King's pregame. I said Squeezing Burger doesn't even allow me there no more. They won't put cheese on my burger. They hate me in the 916 right now. So I already know warning signs have been thrown out there, like the beam and everything. Levels to this. Oh yeah, it's gonna be on and popping Friday.
Public Enemy 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
D-Lo, take care. I'll talk to you later.
All right, fellas. Appreciate it.
See you, buddy.
Damien Barling, Friday, their crossover. Oh, it's going to be lit because Sacramento's chat gets wild. It gets wild.
Bonte.
You ready for this?
Bonte.
You ready for this?
I have to admit.
What?
It's cute that they think that they have a chance. It is. It's pretty cute.